Hi everybody, welcome to the September show of Going Wild in the Highlands. This is the show where me, Floss, and my mate Lou talk about all things nature in the Highlands. So it's spring, Lou.
Yeah, at last. Very happy to see the spring is here.
Yes, and now is the time that I start warning people that animals are on the move. Many of the animals at this time of year are out looking for love, and we need to be super careful on our roads at this time of year.
The wood ducks around my place, I tell you, they're out of control. They're, he's over there on one side of the road, she's over the other side of the road. And I'm just in the middle waiting for who's going to cross first. Really. The wood ducks are all the go.
They're into it.
Yep.
And now's the time to look for echidna trains. Here's me doing another plug. If you haven't heard about echidna trains, you don't know what we're talking about, go back into YouTube, our YouTube channel, and have a listen to the snippet called Echidna Enigmas. They're out and about looking for love. Wombat breeding season is upon us, so again, look out on your roads. They're particularly likely to be around sunset, but really any time. The koalas are also breeding at this time of year, and we have a little segment about that called Why Did the Koala Cross the Road? Swamp wallabies, who usually live as solitary lives, are out looking for mates at the moment. So they will be wanting to cross the roads, and won't be very long before the turtles all start wandering across the road.
Yes, and the turtles, well, dear, they don't much look like an animal, do they? They just look like a stone.
Yep, until you hit them.
So watch out if you see a big stone in the road.
Yes, yep.
Slow down.
That's right. And please put the I4 app, that's spelled IFAW app, onto your phone so that if you do have the misfortune of coming across an injured animal, you'll know exactly what to do. The app covers everything. So, Lou, my exciting news.
Yes, what is this? What is this?
Last week, I got up at 6 a.m. It was still dark and it was raining. And I drove through the miserable rain down to Berrima Reserve, and I watched a half a dozen people clamber out of their clothes down to their board shorts and clamber into the river in the rain at 6:30. It was really cold.
Okay, so what kind of mental problems do they have? I mean, are they nuts?
It's
totally nuts.
It was so interesting to watch. We all met down there. We had a bit of a brief chat, and then those who were willing went into the water, and they stayed in there for 2 to 3 minutes. And they were all doing their best to not shiver and not make a fuss.
Did they splosh in, or did they tentatively crawl in?
No, they went in with determination. And once the first person had done it, everybody else had to do it that way too, of course. But when they came out, they were so exhilarated.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Honestly, it was really impressive. And having watched it...
You're going to join in.
I don't know.
Oh,
I'm going to go
Floss,
back.
You are crazy.
I'll go on Wednesday and
Berrima
see.
River.
Yeah.
Which is really Wingecarribee River. You realise that, don't you?
Yes, ultimately, yes. Yeah. So, we'll see. I'll report back. I really, really, really want to do it, but...
Are you sure you really
we'll
want to do it?
Yes, step up. One of the girls that went in, or the only girl actually who went in, Hannah...
Yeah, they were all guys, were they?
They were all
Except
guys,
one.
bar one, Hannah. And Hannah said, you can face anything else the day gives you because you've already swallowed the frog. Well, I think she's trying to say it's about that attractive.
Tell me, was the mist rising off the water?
To a certain extent, but it was being pushed back down by the rain. Honestly, it
sounds
just
delightful.
the most amazing thing to watch.
Count me out.
So anybody who is up for a challenge, the group meets at Berrima River Reserve. Is that what it's called? There at the end of Oxley Street in Berrima. At 6:30 in the morning.
6:30 in the morning.
Wednesdays. Maybe I'll see you there. Since we recorded last time, we had the big function in town about Phytophthora. There was a great turn up at the Mittagong RSL.
And what a selection of people. I
A
mean,
great cross-section.
Young and old, and people from the industries, from nurseries and
landscapers and
people in a lot of Dayklow vests. Which is really impressive because, getting those guys out of work on a Thursday is not an easy thing. But they were obviously all very interested in the subject of what was killing our trees.
They're taking it seriously.
Yeah.
So because we don't want to talk about it for too long, we've talked about it a couple of times already.
We have.
I really want to know, give me 3 or 4 take-home lessons on this. What do you think were the most important things we learned?
Well, take-home lessons, I suppose, were that everybody in the Shire has been affected by dead trees. Everyone. And I suppose the other thing I took away was how impressive it was that the community had come together with so many different institutions and so many different types of people pulling together. Like the local land services were there and Greening
Council.
Australia. The council was incredibly supportive, and there was Wind Zero, the pressure group there, and of course the Southern Highlands Australian Plant Society, who basically, it was their initiative originally, but they were able to pull together all these different groups.
Yeah, there were also people from Southern Highlands Landcare there.
There were. So that was interesting that the community can come together the way it did that day. What would be interesting is to see how they keep the momentum going, because there were some tough lessons there, but also some opportunities for us to do our planting in a different way in the future. The takeaway message for me was you got to plant lots of different plants because we don't know anymore what's going to work.
That was what I was going to ask you. If you hadn't been there and you had to distill it for your next door neighbour, what are the key messages?
I'd say plant lots of different plants together because some will deal with drought, some will deal with wet feet. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
And do you think, with respect to Phytophthora only, is there any argument for putting in natives versus exotics?
Well, I got the impression very much that the message was, where possible, plant natives and local species. But that doesn't preclude you putting in some lovely exotics as well. Many natives do get Phytophthora. So, there's no panacea for this whole thing.
And the takeaway that I got out of it was, the same thing as the frog ID people have been telling us ever since frog ID existed, is that when you're moving from one soil area to another, you really should scrub your boots.
Absolutely.
You're not only moving Phytophthora around, but you're also moving frog diseases around.
Like the chytrid frog disease.
Yeah,
yes.
That's right.
Yes,
So-
well, once upon a time I used to go to the Frog and Tadpole Study Group out of Sydney, and we used to go on these fabulous field trips. And every night we would brush our feet. We had a little mat and we would spray boots
Alcohol.
with 70% methylated spirits. And then on the way back, we would do the same thing, and we'd do it between sites as well. And that was the takeaway message as well. It's not a waste of time to do that. And
No.
I think we're going to see perhaps council doing more in that respect.
Hope
With bush
so.
care and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
We're certainly doing
So that,
it.
that's certainly something that anybody can do. And, you really are going to be helping. Yes, there's all kinds of arguments about, well, animals move from one spot to another and so on, but at least you're not contributing to the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I went and bought a foot brush from, are we allowed to advertise locally?
No.
From your local hardware store. I think it just cost me under $30. And I'm going to keep it in the boot of my car along with a spray bottle of 70% meths. And every time I go out doing anything, walking or whatever, I'm going to spray.
Yeah, great idea.
Yeah.
Good. So that was a fantastic initiative from the community and the council, and hopefully lots of people will pick up the information. The other thing is that I remember seeing one of the slides was a slide of some trees that they have identified, or some plants they've identified that are resistant to Phytophthora. So if you're putting new stuff in, check on the web. At the moment, the lists aren't comprehensive, but there are some around that will tell you what's Phytophthora resistant.
Actually, there were some lists put out on the table with the local land services, and they went like hotcakes, and I didn't get one. So I'm going to contact the local land services and ask them, can we have some more, please, and spread them around.
Great, okay. If you get those, I'll try and put them on the Facebook page and stuff too.
Okay. And the local nursery, which I'm not allowed to name, which I'm not allowed to say, they have lists of native plants that are frost resistant, prone to wet feet, because wet feet is the clue.
Is the issue.
Yeah. So if you go to that nursery, you may be able to get some information sheets on plants. I was very impressed with that.
Yeah, that's great.
Plants.
In fact, if you go to any nursery, if they can't supply you with something like, let's put a bit of pressure on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So by special request from a friend of the podcast, we've been asked to talk about magpies swooping. We've chatted about magpies a few times. We both actually really love magpies. They're a gorgeous, friendly bird and they're really intelligent. But at this time of year, they start thinking about breeding and nesting. And just for a short period of time at this time of year, some of the males will swoop. All they're doing...
Is it only the males?
Mostly, yeah. They say it's
that.
probably about 10% of the males will
Not
swoop.
many.
Not many. But
And I've heard it's because they pick humans, individuals. Is that right?
Yes, some people, they have a sense of that person is a threat, maybe because they've been threatening in the past, or they might even just look a bit like the person who was threatening in the past, and so on. But the bottom line is, for a few months of the year, some of the males will swoop. And it's only for a short time, and they're just doing what we would do, which is trying to protect, or they perceive that they're protecting their nest. They're keeping
Territory, yes.
Yeah. So there are some things that you can do to reduce the risk of swooping magpies.
You can go around wearing a silly hat.
You can. That's one of the pieces of advice. But even better is that you carry an open umbrella. I mean, A, they're not seeing your face and your head so readily. I mean, I guess option one is don't go there for a few months a year. If you can possibly do it, find another way around that area where the magpie is nesting and swooping. I'm told that they only do it within about 100 metres of their nest. So you don't have to do a huge wide loop around the area. You can just sort of skim the border of the area. Wear a hat, wear sunglasses and carry a brolly. The advice is for cyclists to dismount and walk alongside, and the same with motor scooters, the little e-bikes and all of those kind of things. Because apparently the magpie has to make a more or less split-second decision about whether or not you're a threat. And if you're zooming past, he's going to make a very quick decision and decide that you may be a threat. Whereas if you dismount and walk, he will perhaps perceive that you're not that much of a problem.
Well, you're moving slower too, I suppose.
Yeah.
You're not so in his face, so scary.
That's right. And
yeah.
quick. I've got to do something about this thing.
Yeah.
They also recommend flags on the back of your bike or scooter because that just sort of broadens the target area for maggies.
Right. So if you're a cyclist, wear a silly hat, pair of sunglasses, put a flag on and carry an umbrella.
Red umbrella.
Right.
I think choose your options, darling. So there is a podcast about this on the Highland FM website. Recently, Adam interviewed Patrick Tegart from the Environment Services at Council, and Patrick talks all about swooping magpies. If you go to the Highland FM website and look under the Check-In with Council podcasts, it's episode number 43, and Patrick talks all about, advice around magpies swooping at this time of year. And if you're aware of a swooping magpie, particularly if it's on council land like parks, sports fields and other open areas, and you perceive that it's a risk, then please report it to council. Apparently Patrick gets to trot out and assess the magpie, he might put up a bit of signage, or if he perceives that it's a genuine threat, then he will have that bird moved. The only other thing to say is that, reinforce, it's only 10% of the males for a short period of time. And also it really is rare that they actually cause an injury. Normally they give you a hell of a fright. They swoop down on you unexpectedly. They'll snap their beak and, sometimes make a loud call. They rarely do attack, but they do attack, and there's no denying that. But even with a swooping magpie, there's not that much reason to panic as long as you've done all the safety things that we've recommended. So you've got a new visitor at home?
Well, do you remember last year we had a new frog, or we thought we did? Mm. He's back.
Oh.
He's back in at least 2 sites on my garden. One is the pond, the pandemic pond, I like to call it. I'd forgotten what it was, but it's the brown tree frog. I would say, actually, he started calling, to my absolute amazement, because it was cold, just after the solstice. So I wouldn't have thought a frog would have been affected a great deal by daylight, but clearly this one was, or these 2 were.
Oh, 2.
And yes, I went to Frog ID, the app.
Uh-huh.
And I was able to go through all the different recordings of all the frogs.
Oh, my God. How many did you have to go through before you found it?
I think Litoria Wingecarribee, as it is called, that is the Latin name for the brown tree frog. I had to go through about 10 or 11.
Oh.
I did it in the car, and my partner was driving, and I played this one. Nope. This one, nope. This one, nope. It was quite distinctive. It is quite distinctive.
Yeah.
And there's a big gap between calls.
Right, yeah.
Which is annoying when you're recording.
Makes it hard to record them. Yeah.
Anyhow, this frog I never knew existed here in the Highlands before last year. And then we both discovered it at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
So, hey.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, mine hasn't started calling yet. I'll keep you posted on my tree frog. We bought a trail camera recently, and I'm having the best time.
What's a trail camera?
Oh, just like a wildlife camera that goes in the backyard.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God. The shit that goes down in my backyard when I'm in bed is
what have you
amazing.
What have you been seeing?
It's just been so interesting. So, first of all, we put it on one path, and just on sunset, this beautiful big fat brushy came walking down the path. I love how they use the paths in the garden. They're very respectful. And then about half an hour later, a ringtail came trotting down the very same path, ready to clock on for the night shift as well.
Right.
And then 2-ish hours later, a very healthy fox came trotting down the same path. So we had the brushy and the ringtail and the fox, and then we moved it to the back corner, and we had a little hole in the ground there that was covered with a ground cover, and there was a little hole in the ground cover as if something was coming and going. And I was wondering
You moved
what that
the
was.
camera to the hole.
Yeah, sorry, did I not explain that
I just
clearly?
wanted to be clear.
Put the camera on the hole, and out popped a very cute little rabbit, which we don't want. I acknowledge.
No.
Maybe the fox will find the rabbit. But anyway, there was a rabbit. And then out of the same hole popped a little mouse-like creature, which I've put on various websites, and I'm hoping someone will tell me it's something interesting, but I imagine
Has it got
it's
a pointy
probably a
nose?
mouse.
Well, I suppose mice have.
Look, it moves really quickly, and it's really hard to get a good, clear look at it. It's probably going to be a mouse.
What about the tail?
Again, unremarkable, can't say anything special.
So are you going to put the camera on that hole again? See if you
It's been on that hole for a while, and I only saw that little creature once. So what else have we had?
So that might be an antechinus.
Yes.
That would be my hope.
That would be wonderful, wouldn't it? And what else? We moved it to a different spot, nearish to a bird bath. And you know how when we're birding and we want to get closer to a bird, we don't walk straight toward where the call is coming from. We do a kind of a Z pattern as we approach the bird. A magpie did the same thing with the camera. It saw it from a distance and it was like, well, I'm not going straight there. And he just was like, oh, I'm just going over this side. Oh, no, I might
But
just go over this side.
he was definitely looking at the camera, was he?
Yeah, it was just gradually approaching, zigzagging all the way. Finally got to the camera and just went, boom, straight into the lens.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it was just checking it out. And
How
fortunately,
about
the camera survived.
Yeah.
So we've had that. And then we moved it to a tree that we know that the possums get into. And we saw 2 ringtails going up that tree.
Oh, good.
And then the finale so far, brushies, as you know, brushtails usually live as individuals. They only pair up at springtime.
Yeah, they don't like each other much.
No, but on this occasion we saw one brushtail being chased by another brushtail, and I'm interpreting the chasing as being a female was being chased by a male. It kind of, I don't know, to me it did not look like a brushtail trying to piss another brushtail off out of his territory. I think it might have been
All right.
little springtime behaviour. So I'm hoping that in a few months' time
We're going to have baby brushies.
Yeah. So I'll keep you posted.
Yeah.
I am loving it.
Listen, you should tell people about these cameras because not everybody
Oh,
knows
darling, I'm
about
doing
them.
a podcast. I'm doing a podcast. Here I am telling people about these cameras.
Yeah, but where can you get them?
Oh, right.
And what are they and how much do they cost?
Look, there's just so much range. There's a huge range. Ours, I have to admit, was a fairly expensive one, and you can do all kinds of settings in it of, when it takes photos and when it doesn't.
What's it called?
Can't remember.
What do you ask for?
Can't remember.
Oh, come on.
No. Look, lots
I know
of research can be
I've
done
got
out there.
one.
Oh, yeah?
And I got it from...
Well, there you go.
And a lot of people got theirs, but, they
are
come
we
and they
allowed
go.
to say?
I don't know.
You got it from a
A supermarket.
local supermarket.
But a supermarket that's got aisles in the middle. How's that? And it didn't cost the earth.
No, they don't
And
all.
I've still got it, and you can lend it to people. So, yeah, very entertaining. You do have to look at an awful lot of nothing.
Rubbish. Yeah. Well, so far we've mostly put it really quite low to the ground, so it doesn't get a lot of branch movement. And I've been really surprised at how much time the possums spend on the ground. And I've got a lot of that native violet.
Yes.
And I thought the rabbits were eating it, but it's the brushtail.
Right.
Chomps into it. Every evening there's a big patch of it near a big bird bath. The brushtail drinks out of the bird bath that's on the ground and goes
Right.
off and has a munch of salad.
Whoa.
Oh, look, it is
that
so
sounds
good.
great fun.
So good.
Oh,
You can say
excellent.
that you can lend it to other people, but I'm not going to be lending mine.
Well, yours is expensive.
Well, no, it's not that. It's just it's too entertaining in my own yard.
All right. Well, no cats. That's good. You're very lucky.
No cats.
Oh,
Not yet.
so lucky.
No, that's good.
Because that is the worst, of course. Those animals
Yeah, it would
wouldn't
be
there if the cat
heartbreaking
was
to
there.
see that. Yeah. Okay, things happening in September. Wow. Spring's happening. Everybody's going to get outside. There's a whole lot of activities on. There's just so much to talk about. There's all the regular things. The Glossies in the Mist Feed the Birds team are very keen to do some plantings. They've got some thousands of feed trees, and they're particularly looking for landholders in Berrima, Mandamar, Sutton Forest and Mittagong to put their hands up and have plantings done on their properties. People probably don't realise that the glossy black cockatoo feed trees were all over this area, and we used to get reports of glossies, for example, on the Mittagong side of the Jib, but as people have cleared their suburban blocks of the feed trees, we're getting fewer and fewer reports from there. And these areas have been identified, Berrima, Mandamar, Sutton Forest and Mittagong, as being pinch points in the flight corridors for these birds. So if you're interested in having a planting of feed trees and you're from one of those areas, please get in contact with Beth Mott. That's M for Mary, O-T-T. Her email address is beth.mott at environment.newsouthwales.gov.au. You'll also find Glossies in the Mist on Facebook, or if you have trouble with any of that, contact me via our Facebook page or at flossandlou@gmail.com. So look out for plantings. There are a few scheduled, but we haven't got absolute firm dates. We'll put up the calendar on the Facebook page. Then Saturday's the 7th of September, there is 1,000 things on. There's the Southern Highlands Futures Forum in Bowral from 10 till 3:30. It's National Threatened Species Day that day. Also, the Illawarra Nature Festival will be down at Port Kembla on the 8th of September. The Servo at Port Kembla is hosting that Illawarra Nature Festival. That's going to be an excellent day with all kinds of things happening, including science talks and kids' activities, music and all kinds of things. People that are down that way, get down there, or Highlanders who want to get out from here for a while, get down there. On Saturday the 7th and Sunday the 8th, there is also the Great Glossy Count. This is when those of us who can get out and try and count the glossy black cockatoos all down the eastern seaboard. That's arranged by BirdLife Australia. If you're interested in joining into that, you need to register for that one, and they can give you some advice about a good site to go to where you're likely to find glossies. Have a look at that. And Tulip Time is from the September the 13th right through till September the 30th. And there's going to be music at the festival every single day from 10:30 till 3:30. And then there's Tulips After Dark on the 20th, 21st, 27th and 28th. There'll be live music on all those occasions. I'm told they were all fully booked last year, so if you're thinking you might want to get out and see that, you'll need to book early. Then on the 18th in Bowral at the Empire Cinema, there's going to be an Earthflix movie called The River Blue from 6 till 8:30. The Earthflix movies are on once a month, every month. It's always worth checking to see what's on for those. And on Friday the 20th through till Sunday the 22nd, there is the Great Southern Bio Blitz. Oh, in fact, it goes through to the 23rd, I see here. Again, there's going to be more information available about that soon, and we'll do our best to put that on the Facebook page. Look out for land care plantings. Wingecarribee Shire Council and friends are going to be organising some spotlighting evenings through September, dates to be confirmed soon, and they're going to do frog ID and saunas. Frog saunas, Lou.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah, something, I don't know what we're going to learn there.
Could we just get in the sauna and then they let out all the frogs?
Invite
the frogs and they jump all over
More
you.
to learn on that one. The details will be coming out soon. That's about it for things happening. Again, all of the usual land care dates, we've put in as many as we can, and bush care dates. There's all kinds of things happening from now.
Spring is so crazy, isn't
That's
it?
right.
Everybody comes out of their little burrows.
Including
and suddenly we're
us.
busy, and the weather gets
Including
lovely.
us.
So, yeah, get out there and enjoy nature.
Yeah, so speaking of which, let's us get out there and enjoy some lunch.
Yes, that sounds nice.
You can find us on Highland FM at 8 p.m. on Monday nights or any time on their website under podcasts. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. We're also available on YouTube, where we add photos to go along with our chat. And we're going to sometimes put up some longer pieces on YouTube that don't make it into the show. So check out what's happening over there, because it won't all be in the show. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. And our email address, as I said before, is flossandlou@gmail.com. Thank you to Highland FM. They're fantastic to us. They really look after us very well. This month, the team included Adam Stokeld, Warren Barnett and Harrison East. A big thank you to all of our contributing photographers, and a special thank you to Louise Docker for her continuing support.
And thank you all for listening to us.
Yes, thank you for listening, and thank you for telling other people about our podcast. We really appreciate it. We'll see you. Well, we won't see you, Lou, in October.
No, I'm going to have a month off.
And I've got some interesting surprises for what's going on while Lou's away. So check it out again in the October show. Bye, everybody.
Bye now.